Let's talk about a difficult audience. So if the question I get asked all the time is how do you deal with a hostile audience? How can you be prepared maybe for a difficult audience? What do you think, Lee?
I suppose when you asked me that question earlier about how does a background of performing relate to presenting, actually, I should have mentioned this. This is probably one of the strongest because when you've performed on stage in front of, let's say, something like the Post Office Union Workers' Christmas party at 10:30 in the evening when they're all wildly drunk, and I mean that's a difficult audience, right? A boardroom of 10 people at 11 in the morning doesn't hold any terrors for me anymore. There are several different ways of preparing for a hostile audience. The most important, I think, is well, first of all, understanding where does the hostility come from. And there's usually two different kinds of hostility. So sometimes it can be hostility to you and your ideas as a presenter, but that's usually a minority. The much greater hostility is because of internal politics. So, for example, maybe half the room hates the other half of the room, and they're just using you as the presenter to show the other half of the room either how much they understand or why they don't agree with this idea. Maybe if you're presenting the results of a project that's been going on for a year, there may be somebody very senior who's very new to the business. They've only been in their role for 1 month. So they need to assert themselves. They need to show everybody in the room how powerful they are and why they don't think this project is worth continuing with. And it's not really you as the presenter, and it's not really because of your project, it's because of them. So it's quite important, I think, to distinguish that early on. A second thing that you can do as a presenter is you can acknowledge it. And I'm amazed how many people don't do this. We love presenters who are authentic and who are honest with us. So having a part of your messaging as early in the presentation as possible, which acknowledges it, which says, look, I know that most people in this room are opposed to this idea, or I know most of the people in this room think this is a waste of our time and money. I know most people in the room don't want to work with us as a new business. You want to stick with your existing agency. Just saying those things out loud, it can often psychologically soften the audience, get them on your side a bit more, and even going to the extent, and I've definitely had clients who've done this with great effect. Look, everybody, thank you for coming this morning. I know you don't want to be here. I know you think this is a waste of your time. I've done quite a lot of research. I promise I'm not going to take up much of your time. We've got an hour in the diary. I've managed to get this down to 10 minutes. I'm only going to give you the 3 things we really need to know. And after 10 minutes, I'm open to questions, and then we're finished if there's nothing else. And so being really straightforward and being really honest with the audience can set a better tone for the start of the audience. And then a third thing to do is to train the audience as early as you can in the presentation. So some version of saying something like, I'm going to get through the main information as quickly as I can. I've got a handout afterwards to give you with more details, and I'm very happy to take questions, but if you don't mind, I'll take those at the end because I want to get through the 3 points because several people in the room are busy and need to go early. Something like that. So you tell the audience, wait till the end, because you don't, if it's a hostile audience, you don't want them to disrupt your presentation early and to take it off track. So those are the 3 things I'd recommend strongly.